know you already testified about this, but does an innocent person say if they had any evidence?
Right. Katie's saying it's the police, and I'm saying that we're innocent. They're not going to have any evidence to show we were part of something, that we were part of it. If we had any part of this, we'd be going to the airport right now.
Isn't it true, Doctor, that they're not going to have any evidence because you were careful?
No, because we weren't a part of this.
You were smart.
No, we weren't a part of this.
You walled yourself off from the killers.
I was sure they're not going to have evidence to show I did something I didn't do, so we're not running to the airport.
You're untouchable, right?
No.
Donna Adelson was arrested right here at Miami International Airport on the jetway as she was getting ready to board a one-way flight to Vietnam. That's a country without extradition to the United States. Now she's in custody in Miami, waiting to be transferred to Tallahassee.
You are listening to the Roberta Glass True Crime Report, putting the true back in true crime. From New York City, Roberta Glass is now on the record.
How is everyone? Wanted to talk to you today about the secret recording that brought the Adelson family down. Well, not all of the Adelson family. Of course, when I'm talking about the Adelson family, I'm not talking about Robert, the eldest son. And unfortunately, not yet am I talking about Wendy Adelson. Certainly, this secret recording didn't help with keeping her under the eye of suspicion, out of the eye of suspicion, out from under the eye of suspicion. Here we go. But it was terribly damning for Charlie. And it took a while to get the audio correct. The audio still is not great. So I will attempt to play it and read some of it. This is, of course, La Dolce Vita tapes, meaning the day after the bump, Charlie and Katie McBanawa met in a busy, noisy restaurant called La Dolce Vita. And they had a discussion about this mysterious man that had come up to his mother and wanted some money to keep quiet, wanted to be taken care of just the way the Adelson family was taking care of Katie and Sigfredo Garcia. Note that Donna never said, I don't know. She pretended to not know what you're talking about, but she never denied taking care of them. And I think that is one of the more interesting aspects that has never really been uncovered. How did Katie and Sigfredo pay for their lawyers? It was something the state brought up. They had an in-camera meeting with the judge, the defense attorneys did, and satisfied the judge that the Adelsons weren't paying for their defense. But where did this money come from? Pretty interesting. We will get into it, but first, your comments. I was talking about Alec Baldwin, and I was streaming his in-camera meeting is a secret meeting, meaning it's not recorded. It's just a private meeting between the judge and the defense lawyers. It's so an odd phrase. It means exactly the opposite of how it sounds. But before I get into your comments, it's Miss Shorty. So are you like Prince now, Lisa? Thank you so much. The artist formerly known as It's Miss Lisa. Great channel, doing great shorts on this case. And I'm not just saying that because I've gotten a super chat. I really do enjoy your shorts. It's Miss Shorty writes, round of banana bread to celebrate my channel name change, formerly known as It's Miss Lisa. It's Miss Shorty. All right. Well, it's gonna take some getting used to, but everybody's I would highly recommend everybody subscribe to her channel, regardless of the name. All great content. Jill Jane, thank you so much for the super sticker. And Spitfire has become a YouTube member. Some banana bread for you, Miss Spitfire. Thank you so much for becoming a member. Want to get into your comments. I'm going to try a little something different. It may be a miserable failure, but let's see. Let's see how it goes. The comments. Okay, so Valerie D. Kahn says, this bullet bourbon humor is not a reach. Wendy has a very warped sense of humor. Look at her interview about human tea. She was smiling and laughing while discussing this topic with the interviewer. Who was horrified by her behavior. But what's interesting about that, Valerie, is that so many people told me I was wrong. It's a reach. We just don't like her. I've been getting a lot more supportive comments for the Adelson family. And I believe it's Miss Shorty was telling me that she has seen the same thing on her channel. So the Adelson supporters are coming out of the woodwork. Very interesting. But yes, I agree. So Valerie's talking about her interview she gave on local Miami television, where she's smiling and selling her book like it's a fun, uplifting book about human tea. Like that's like who didn't want an uplifting, funny book about human trafficking? I mean, what is going on? I found it so odd, but other people said there was nothing odd about it, nothing odd about her smiling. So everybody sees it in their own way. Pretty interesting. So next comment is from Little Orla. Adelsons will spend every penny trying to save their own unsavable behinds and leave the two boys penniless orphans. That's something I've wondered about the Adelsons. Thank you, Little Orla. That's something I've wondered about the Adelsons' finances. And I can't tell. I've often thought they seem cheap. Are they cheap or not? How much they have left, where it is, how they've moved their money around. I know Murder by Maestro has done a deep dive into the Adelson's trusts and stuff and says it's really expansive how much they've hid their money in these kind of trusts and moved it around, all after Dan Markel's murder. So be interesting to see. And I hope those boys make it out from under the Adelson's care okay. That's what I really worry about. Okay, last comment is from Gina Ross, 6382, says, most puzzling to me is Dan's parents could not find a will, meaning a copy of Dan Markel's will anywhere. Hard to fathom that Dan, a lawyer, would not have made a will a priority. once the marriage ended. And little Orla, your comments are highlighted today. True, but my daughter has a copy of my will. Why didn't he put it in a safety deposit box or have his parents hold on to it? So we know that Wendy, when Dan was in New York, took everything that she wanted, took the ring, took the furniture that she wanted, took all the boys' clothes except clothes that they had grown out of, and left him with the divorce papers and emptied the bank accounts. My understanding, and let me know if I'm right on this, so take this with a grain of salt, is that she also went into the safety deposit box and took took stuff. So that's interesting. Did she remove the will at some time? That's a question to ask, certainly. And I have to review Ruth Markel's book to see what she writes about that. It's a pretty interesting point, Gina, that you bring up there. So that is the end of the comments. Please like, subscribe, and hit the thumbs up button. It really helps my channel and the algorithm and YouTube spread this video. Barb Nauman, thanks so much. Wendy and her family show true sadistic traits. Yes. Everything's a challenge. Everything is a competition. It's very interesting that Donna and Wendy have both been on game shows. They like to compete. They don't like to lose. And it's all about power and control. And even when, really highly recommend you read Donna's emails if you haven't read them. They're on Stephen B. Epstein's webpage. And when she's referring to Dan and his influence over the children, or why he wants them to be raised in his faith, it's not that he deeply believes in his faith. He's a religious zealot. That's how that family sees him, and that he wants control over the boys. That's always the phrase Donna uses when she writes. Dan wants control over the boys. And I think it's really so unself-aware, because that's exactly what this family wants. It's all about control with Donna and with Wendy. It's a battle for control, and they would not be made suckers. They couldn't handle losing. They couldn't handle not getting totally what they want. This family does not compromise. And for the crime of not totally giving the Adelson family everything that they want, Dan Markel was murdered. That's how I see it. So let me take a very I'll take a break later. But before, I just wanted to show, so Miss Shorty's doing great work. Also, Murder by Maestro doing great work on his channel. And I don't just say that's because they're moderators for my channel. Really put out a really cool video yesterday. I wanted to show you a little of it. It's called Wendy's Movements, the Day of the Murder. Let me get back to the beginning for you guys.
What's the address of your emergency?
It's right next door to my house, which is 2122 Trescott Drive.
Can you repeat that for verification?
2122 Trescott Drive. T.
Okay, and the phone number you're calling from?
I'm calling from.
Okay, and tell me exactly what happened.
We heard a loud bang and the car pulled away from next door. I came over and looked in. The garage door was up. And I thought the gentleman was backing out. And I went back to my house, but he never backed out. And I came back over, and his driver's side window is shattered, and he's battered and can't answer. He's inside. I don't know if somebody tried to shoot him or if he shot himself or what. I don't know.
911, what's the address of your emergency? Hi, 2116. I got somebody on the phone, and all of a sudden they kind of made a weird sound, and it sounded like they were breathing, labored breathing. Stop. I'm talking to the police. Stop. I'm sorry. Okay, it looks like we already got a call about it. Wait 1 second. Oh, you already got a call about it. Who are you speaking with? It was a friend of a friend. Is Dan Markle? Is his name? It looks like there was a traffic accident right in front of that place. That's exact.
All right. So that's the beginning, but you can see when I'm sorry about my internet. I'm getting new internet service. It's a little bit more a little bit better for uploading things. So in a couple days. So hopefully the end of watching the counter or shaky video on this channel will be over. It's so frustrating. I find it so frustrating. But you can see, basically you can see Wendy's whole route. And the way he did it was so cool. So the link is in the description of this episode. Highly encourage you check it out. But let me see if I can play just 2 more seconds of it, or 30 more seconds of it.
Location.
Yeah, so you get the idea. So you can see Wendy as a picture, her movements from kind of, for those listening on podcasts, from a kind of aerial view. And it gives a real sense of the landscape and where she went on the day of Dan Markel's murder. Great job, Murder by Maestro. Excellent work. So I think that this would be a great time for a quick break, 30-second break, and I'll meet you on the other side of the break. Don't go anywhere. If you are enjoying this episode of my True Crime Report, please hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and share this episode. Get access to exclusive podcasts and other bonus content by becoming a patron today. If you have a question or comment for me, shoot me a super chat and I'll do my best to answer it and read it on air. Thanks so much. Now back to the show. Okay. All right. Now I'm extremely nervous about how this is going to play. Of course, everything played fantastically before I was live, but all things were a go. Let's see how this La Dolce Vita recording. So my plan is to play you a little bit of it in the beginning, so you can hear what it sounds like, and then just to read it, because frankly, the sound is so poor. And that's why I don't, I think I've listened to a lot of the beginning of this, and it wasn't until I was preparing for this episode did I really listen to all of it because of the sound. I don't know how many people in my audience are have done similarly. Actually, let me set this up better. Hold on 1 second. Please hold. So this is from Florida Politics. This gives you the background, and the article is called Motives, Code Words, Wiretaps, and Persistence, Backstory of Charlie Adelson's Arrest. And this guy has written fantastic articles on Florida politics. Peter it's Schorsch. Scorch. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing it. I'm really sorry, Miss Peter Scorch. It's excellent work. Anyway, so he goes into the history of it here, and he says, an FBI sting wiretap code words, Adelson and McBanawa's conversation. Hold on one second. Conversation at the Dolce Vita restaurant happened the day after an undercover FBI agent approached Charlie's mother, Donna Adelson, on the street. Donna, posing as the brother of Luis Rivera, a man who had driven with now convicted killer Sigfredo Garcia to Tallahassee to carry out the hit in July. At the time of the FBI sting operation, also known as the bump, nobody had been arrested, but investigators had gathered enough evidence to identify members of the conspiracy. The four named here, Charlie, McBanawa, Garcia, Rivera, plus two, possibly three other members of the Adelson family, including Wendy Adelson, Dan Markel's ex-wife, and Donna Adelson, their mother, to corroborate what investigators had uncovered. The bump was intended to generate new conversation about the murder between conspirators. In the undercover FBI agent surprised Donna, but there's this little part he writes about. Charlie says, if it's a threat, go to the police. Donna says, I don't think it's a good idea. Charlie says, obviously, don't talk about things in the apartment or any place. Donna says, obviously. Charlie says, what did they ask for? And Donna says, the famous line, the TV was probably about $5,000. They asked you for $5,000, Charlie says. And Donna says, and mentioned an ex-girlfriend. So Charlie's next related call was to McBanawa, one of the many women he had dated in his prolific bachelor lifestyle. Great, wonderfully put. She wasn't his most recent ex-girlfriend, but even without Donna mentioning Katie by name, Charlie understood what and who his mother was talking about. Further, Donna's use of the code word TV reveals more than it may at first glance. Without context, it may seem benign, even if odd, considering that the undercover FBI agent never used this word. However, TV appears to have played a central role behind the scenes of this plot, stemming back to the contentious divorce Wendy initiated from Dan Markel a few years prior. So, in a devastating move described by Markel as his Pearl Harbor, he had returned home from work to find that Wendy had all but cleared out their marital home and safety deposit box, leaving divorce papers behind. She had called to tell Markel she wanted a divorce, but he was shocked to find that she had already moved out. So that's a little bit better the backstory here with this video. And it was used in Charlie's trial very effectively. So Charlie says, if they had any evidence, we would have already gone to the airport. The problem is, even if they bug this, even if they bug your home phone, nobody is going. And then they couldn't hear what he was saying here. So it's so crazy that they were all aware that they could be possibly bugged and that they're still talking. So I think what I got from that little clip where I think Charlie says don't talk in your own home, but then they all meet in Donna's home for brunch. So it's, I guess, this ever increasing paranoia. Nowhere is safe anymore. So Charlie says, even if they bug your phone, you're still not talking about any of this. So my point is, how do you get people to talk? You throw smoke grenades and then you get all of the cockroaches to run out. So is he referring to himself as a cockroach, or those other criminals who plan a murder? Is that what he's talking about? Pretty interesting. So just to let you know, it really
So my point is, how do you get people to talk? You throw smoke grenades, and then you get all the cockroaches to run out. There's smoke in the house.
So now he's playing a cockroach. I guess this is how Charlie Adelson persuades. So this is the voice of the cockroach. There's smoke in the house. There's smoke in the house, and everyone's running and everyone's talking, and you throw a smoke grenade. What do you think?
And everyone's running and everyone's talking, and you throw a smoke grenade. What do you think? Listen, if that's what it was, if that's what it was, I love when he gains control and authority. You listen to me, Katie. I'm the maestro. I'm going to tell you the way it is. Listen, if that's what it was, it's very smart, because that means my mom hasn't told my dad anything. My mom knows my dad is going to flip out when he finds out, but my mom hasn't told my dad anything. Smart, because that means my mom hasn't told my dad anything. My mom said my dad's going to flip out when he finds out. But my mom hasn't told my dad anything.
So that would mean, I assume that would mean about the bump, that Donna hasn't told him anything about the bump. But I would think that if Harvey were ever brought to trial, he would play this as part of his defense, in that I don't know anything. I wasn't in the loop. But normally, obviously, if that was a cop that came, here Charlie continues, and spoke to my mom, and that night when he comes home from work, she would say, guess who today, or guess who paid me a little visit when I'm taking the kids to school?
Normally, obviously, if that was a cop that came and spoke to my mom, that night when she comes home from work, she would say, guess who I got to paid me a little visit when I'm taking the grandkids. And then paid me a little visit when I'm taking the grandkids.
My apologies. And then after she dropped them and she was walking home, she dropped them off and was walking back by herself. It's amazing that they were able to clean all this audio. It really reminds me, and maybe at a break, we'll play the great video the Society page did, great YouTube channel, where he did a trailer of Francis Ford Coppola's great film, The Conversation, and he edited in the bump footage into it. It's really, really effective. So this person had to be, because the thing is, a lot of times my mom takes their car and drives them to school, the kids. This person knew her routine, knew who she is. Wow, speaking of routine, Charlie, how did you know about Dan Markel's routine? Did you possibly hear all about her routine from your sister? Had to be, right? I guess you could argue that
Donna may have heard about it via Wendy, but I doubt. I mean, I don't know. I would guess that would come up. That would be Don. I mean, sorry, I always get them confused. Wendy's defense at trial.
So this person had to be wicked to that thing. And a lot of times, my mom takes their car, drives to the school. Because this person, her routine, knows who she is. Yeah. So
Yeah, someone may have come up to the office. My dad works Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Like, you know, it's probably either get him on the beach or get him at the office up there.
when they come to the office, my dad works Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Like, you know, he'd probably either get him on the beach or get him at the office up there. And they approach my mom because my dad maybe sometimes carries a gun. You never know. So, you know, you don't want to try to.
So he's saying that they may have approached my mom because my dad may be known as someone who's carrying a gun. So you never know, you know, you don't want it to turn into an effing shootout. I mean, his mind is going crazy directions. They're surveilling my family. They kind of were, but they know everything about us. Everyone's listening. I mean, can you imagine? This is really like crime and punishment. That's not so easy to plan and enact the perfect murder. Because I played a video also done by the Society page of the description of Charlie Adelson's arrest, where he was arrested in his underwear, wouldn't come out, and his whole home was filled with guns. So he had reached a serious level of paranoia. And we know Donna had reached the same kind of level of paranoia. I need to talk to a lawyer who doesn't talk. I talked to Dan. Maybe we'll make it out. They might stop us at the airport, but it's worth a try. Remember that wiretap? They may have approached my mom because my dad may be someone known carrying a gun. I mean, he's going into totally paranoid direction. So he's telling Katie here that he sometimes carries a gun, and Katie's saying, I have mine right next to me. So Katie's also very paranoid. And also now Katie has more stuff to protect, more money, more stuff, brand new car, or really it's Harvey's old car that's brand new to her that she has to protect. It's coming her way. Right? He gave her vacations, cruises. According to her, half a breast job he paid for. Can't make this stuff up.
I mean, I can say I have a lot of I carry on. I mean, someone comes up to me. You carry on you right now? I mean, I'm going to start carrying one on my back. Like, you know, the holster.
Here's the paranoia again. You're carrying on you right now. So Charlie's talking about the gun that Katie says she has next to her. I mean, I'm going to start carrying one on my back. Like, you know, the holster that fits in your back. If someone comes up to me, they better be ready to shoot because I'm going to shoot them. Someone comes up asking for money in my house. So now danger is everywhere. It's kind of like the Blob. Danger is seeping everywhere under the doors. And he's having fantasies about protecting himself and having shootouts. Wild, right?
Someone comes up to me, they better be ready to shoot. Someone comes up to me asking me for money in my house. Yeah, and guess what? When the fucking police show up and there's a doctor.
See, this is so telling. So he says when the police show up and there's a doctor, there's an oral surgeon standing there with a dead gang member in his effing driveway. They're not going to come down too hard on me. This was the whole, I believe, every morning I've been waking up and I've been thinking about what happened. What happened the day that the Adelson family all got together and planned this murder? Was it over a brunch at the Adelson family? Can see Charlie pacing. I've had all these imaginings about how they all decided to do this. Was this the ultimate group think? Did no one say this is a terrible idea? Because minus Robert, Wendy might be the more sensible one. Tell me if I'm wrong. I mean, it's not a great group of people. Very low bar for sensible. But I can see Wendy as a lawyer saying, not too many people are going to get away. It's pretty hard to get away with this. Dan Markel was a pretty prominent member of the community. But I think that was part of the plan. Who are they going to believe? Even if Garcia or Rivera talks or makes a deal, and Rivera did make a deal, who are they going to believe? The oral surgeon or the gang member? And you saw in his trial, Georgia Kappelman was so smart. She said, "Do you want me to call you doctor?" "Yes, I do." And they really emphasized how busy his schedule was. He was a busy periodontist, had no time to plan a murder. A murder? A murder? Charlie, my son, a murder? He's a very prominent periodontist in Miami. That's the way they think of themselves. Forget that he almost flunked out of dental school, would have if he didn't have Weinstein, the Broward County judge, who's Wendy's godfather, to put pressure on the school to get him to graduate.
They're not going to come down too hard on me. I'm not going to talk anyway. I don't know much about drugs.
Right. So he's saying, I'm not going to talk anyway. So he's assuring Katie he's not going to talk. And I think that's also why Katie didn't take a deal and Sigfredo Garcia. I mean, Sigfredo Garcia being the shooter really doesn't have much room to make deals. But maybe he could have negotiated a lower sentence. It's hard when you're the shooter, but Rivera beat him to it. But that's what I think the message was given to Katie and Rivera. Nobody talk and we'll all be okay. So Charlie's saying, Katie, this is not like some chick he just hates women, Charlie Adelson. Some chick showing off tattoos to your man. This is happening and it's serious because these people are going to come back. They didn't go through the trouble of seeking my mom out to hand her that and then just go away. Interesting. So he's saying this is going to be a real problem. How do we get this to go away? Because at this point, I guess they're not thinking it's law enforcement. But he does bring up that option, but he says, even if it's law enforcement, I'm not going to talk. Okay. Okay, Maestro.
So I got two options.
You hear that? The maestro has two options. They're not going away. I mean, I may wish they'd go away and never come back, but they ain't going away. The trouble they went through, and Katie says, Katie can barely get in a word here. They're now, because they're going to be to a point, it's just like, hold on.
They're not going away. They wish they'd go away and never come back. They ain't going away. The trouble they've been through. Well, with the beard or with the badge?
So Katie says something, and he's saying with a beard or with a badge, something we can't understand. Katie says either or. I don't know. Listen, if a badge comes up to you, tell them, have a nice day, officer. Listen, if they want to charge me with something, charge me. If not, I don't talk to cops. Sorry. Yeah, because I committed a murder. So he's telling her how to behave should the police want to question her. So
I don't listen, if a badge comes up to you, tell them have a nice day, officer. Listen, if they want to charge you with something, charge me. If not, I don't talk to cops. Sorry. No, it's very simple. Like, if you're going to charge me, charge me. Yeah, but things have changed a lot. You know what's changed a lot? There's cameras everywhere. So cops now.
yeah, but things have changed a lot. So he's telling Katie how things were in the old days before cameras were everywhere. There's cameras everywhere. So he says, there's cameras everywhere. So cops now, they have an effing pension. When they retire, they're going to get a pension for the next 30 years, medical, dental, and a salary every month. I don't really understand where he's going with this. Okay.
Now, they have a fucking pension. When they retire, they're going to get a pension for the next 30 years, medical, dental, and salary every month. They think that, you know, the camera, look, how many cameras are here? 5? Yeah.
So if they think that, you know, the cameras, look, how many cameras are in here? 5, you know? I mean, they better be going in a place where there's not a chance that someone doesn't have a camera pointing outside to know the caption of. So he's already saying 5, meaning 5,000. The TV was 5. So obviously Katie's asking how much do they want? I would think would be a rational inference to that.
You know, I mean, they better be doing it in a place where there's not a chance that someone doesn't have a camera pointing outside to know the caption and or their dashboard. What I'm saying is that this person is not going away. They came very equipped with details.
So he's saying they're not going away. They came very equipped with details. Where did the details come from? Who has talked? And that's what the police wanted. They wanted paranoia amongst this group, and it worked. Is there a mole? Who's talking?
Where did the details come from? I don't know. The details I don't know.
He says, well, because it's one of two things. What else could they? You go to the cops and give information.
Well, because one of the two things. You go to the cops and you get information. Okay, I'm going to tell them that my brother did. I'll go right now and tell them. They're going to say.
Okay, so he wants to blame this on Robert. I'm going to go tell him that my brother did it. I'll go right now and tell them. They're going to say, can you prove it? And I'm going to say no. Did you know what kind of gun was used? I say no. Did you see your brother do it? No. So what he's saying to Katie is that there's no evidence. Stay quiet. Don't crack if the police talks to you. Everyone stay quiet. He must be very persuasive in person, because Katie was offered full immunity to spill everything she knew. And instead, she went to trial. And I'm not really believing that she was protecting the father of her kids. These people look after number one. I think she really bought this line from the Adelsons. Everybody stay quiet. We will give you the best lawyers. That's my opinion, that the Adelsons paid for their lawyers, and stay quiet, go to trial. What a mistake. Right? Charlie's never wrong because Charlie's always right. That's the Adelson family motto.
And I'm just saying, no. You know, kind of cover you. I'm just saying, no. You see your brother, no. How do you know these? He told you. Okay, he told you. That's called secondhand knowledge. It's not even admissible. I mean, he told you. What did he tell you? He said, I did.
So he's saying, even if you say that he's basically exaggerating. How do you know? He told me. Okay, he told you. That's called secondhand knowledge. It's not even admissible. I'd love I'd love a jury, a lawyer's ruling on this. Okay, he told you. What did he tell you? He said, I did it. Even if I went in and said my brother said he did it, you got to prove it. You got to put the person on the scene, at the scene, I think he means.
Even if I went in and said, my brother said he did it, you got to prove it. You got to put the person in the scene. You understand? In order to prove it.
You've got to understand, in order to prove it, you have to put that person at the scene at the time, not in the car, because the fact is, it's like, even if, let's say you just sat in the car, right? And then I go ahead and I commit a crime. Basically saying they got nothing. They got nothing on us, guys. Nothing. Are you guys bored? Let me know in the chat. Is this boring? Kat says, I was thinking about Robert earlier today. I often think about him and how great it was that he escaped this toxic family. Yeah, amazing and very hard to do because, you know, we all talk about Donna, but that's his mother. We talk about these people. These are human beings. That's someone's mother. Okay. No one's bored yet. Let me know if you guys get bored. All right. Back to this. You got to understand, in order to prove it. So he's saying they have nothing. They got nothing, guys. Nothing.
You have to put that person at the scene at the time, not in the car, because the fact is like, even if, let's say you just sat in my car, right? And then I go ahead and I commit a crime, and then I go, and you're getting into the car, and I go, yeah, Katie.
Okay, now he's going to another scenario. Then I go, but your DNA is in the car. And I go, yeah, Katie was in my car and she got out and she did this horrible crime. Okay, so then they come and get the DNA in the car and go, oh, Katie was in the car.
She was in my car and she got out and she did this horrible crime. Okay, they come and they get the DNA in the car. They go, yep, Katie was in the car. No, Katie sat in the car for 2 minutes and got the AC.
No, Katie sat in the car for 2 minutes and then got in the AC and then got out of the car. Katie has nothing to do with me robbing the Burger King. So even if I can prove that, yeah, Katie was with me. So can you put Katie at the Burger King? I can put Katie. I can say that she sat in the car. Yeah. So now he's playing defense attorney and he's playing with DNA evidence and he's giving a reason for the DNA evidence. So it's very much like his own defense. I can tell you an alternate story. So instead of, say, Katie in the car and the Burger King and her DNA, let's look at Charlie and the bump and the extortion and giving Katie money and gifts. And he has the extortion story. But is it a better story than the story the state tells? How does it fit in with the totality of the evidence? And it didn't fit very well. So what Charlie's saying to Katie is, if you can tell any alternative story at all, they can't prove it. Wrong. wrong. Certainly the way that his trial worked proved that's not so. Looked like he had a story for everything. It's called tailoring your story to the evidence.
And then got out of the car. It has nothing to do with the Burger King evidence. So even if I could prove that, yeah, Katie can you put Katie at the Burger King? I can put Katie, say that she sat in the car, yeah. What you need to do is take that little bit of evidence when you haven't been in the car, and then we read the interrogation and we know you were in that car.
What you need to do is get that little bit of evidence from you having been in the car, and then they bring you into the interrogation. So he's saying the thing that will bring us down is if you talk. They're like, listen, we know that you were in that effing car and that you were in that car such and such a day. Yeah, and they have other evidence, Charlie. It's not just that. I know he's talking scenarios, to quote Katie's defense. How many times did she say scenarios on the stand? Does everybody remember when Katie took the stand? Twice in her trial. She got first she got a hung jury, then they convicted her, but in both trials she took the stand, and her defense was, I didn't understand. Charlie was just talking scenarios. I didn't know what he was talking about. I just let him talk. And George's point was, but you didn't get up from the table and say, I'll have no part of this. You sat and you listened. So he's saying, even if they have you dead to rights, say nothing. We know we've got your DNA, even if your DNA, your fingerprints, your effing hair is all over that effing car. That proves, yeah, congratulations, you were in the car. It's not a crime to sit in the car, okay? You know what I mean? My mom could have sat in that car too. I mean, he's sounding just like like the yarns the Innocence Project comes up with. They just released a guy a couple years ago, year and a half ago now, in Ann Arbor, Michigan, who was caught on video committing the crime. His dad ID'd him when the surveillance video hit the news. They found clothing he wore, the gun in his home, and they just released him because they got a height expert to say, this is their like new grift, these height experts saying he wasn't the same height in the video. The person in the video was of a different height. And he had co-conspirators too, was also convicted. So it's so crazy, the stuff. Basically, they just wanted him out. And they had a DA willing to do it, willing to let him out, and willing to sacrifice the taxpayers' money. So when they sue civilly, it's often your taxpayer money that's paying these criminals off for their quote-unquote wrongful conviction.
That proves, yeah, congratulations, you were in the car. It's not a crime to sit in a car. Again, you know what I mean? My mom could have sat in the car because it's not a crime. You have to prove it to put you in the scene and the date.
So it's the same thing. It's not a crime. They have to prove it. They have to put you at the scene at the date. So this is all the rationalizations that Charlie is telling himself as to why he'll never be caught, why the Adelson family will never be caught. No one, Katie himself, his mother, Wendy, no one ever will be tried for this. 2, they said the guy's name was 2-0. I don't even know who the F it is. Is there just 2-0?
The guy's name was 2-0. I don't even know who this fuck is. Is it just 2-0? It's 2-0's incarcerated. And I know that you've been helping your family, helping the TV. Now, 2-0's family needs your help. I was like, I don't know what you're talking about.
So just to go back a second, hold on. Tudo's incarcerated now, and I know that you've been helping out Katie and helping your family has been helping out Katie and her family. Now Tudo's family needs your help. It reminds me of a cat I babysit, Tito. That's what I think of every time.
And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And he goes,
My mom was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And he goes, well, maybe this will refresh your memory. And he hands it to her.
maybe this will refresh your memory. And I handed it to her. And she said, maybe since I love it.
And she said, respect, well spoken, like polite. She goes, polite and well spoken. I said, did he act thug, or did he have talk with like a thick Spanish accent or anything? She said, no. Donna was way off, said he was white. My understanding is that the bump guy was not, but Donna said he was very polite, very well spoken. Almost sounded like no accent or nothing.
Like his wife was polite and well spoken. I said, did he act dog, or did he have talk with like a thick Spanish accent or anything? He said, no. I said, is he white or Hispanic? They said he was white, but he could have been Hispanic, but no. Yeah, because I mean, everyone in Miami is Hispanic. So it's like, you can't tell. I talked to him.
Yeah, so Charlie even thinks that might be wrong. Yeah, couldn't say. I mean, everybody in Miami is Hispanic, so it's like you can't even tell. I talked to you on the phone, and it's like talking to someone, like Maria from West Side Story. Tonight, I would love if he broke into West Side Story. Tonight.
Maria from West Side Story.
Like it could have been like, so he wasn't strong skinned. She had an FN sounding, which was very recognizable. Katie says, so recognizable.
So he wasn't strong skinned. She had it's like it was very recognizable. With no glasses, I said.
With no glasses, I said no glasses, no hat. She said very well dressed. Katie says well dressed.
What about like no glasses, no hat? Well, she said well dressed. Yeah, it wasn't like you would have looked at him and be like, oh, he's tall.
Yeah, he wasn't like, you would have looking at, you're like, oh, he's a thug. No, she said he was wearing like a shirt and kind of like a little vest or kind of like a little jacket. She said he was broad. My mom's like he was big. Interesting.
No, she said she was wearing like a shirt and kind of like a little vest or kind of like a little jacket. She said he was broad. I was like, my mom's walking this way. Your mom goes to the right. He goes like this. Staying firm.
So basically, he's describing how he bumped into her. Pun intended. My mom's walking and my mom goes right and he moves like this and he turned and my mom's like, oh, sorry, sir, like this. And then he goes like, my mom's like, sorry. And he's, all the like in here. And he's like, Miss Adelson. And she's like, yes. He goes, I need to talk with you. Okay. So my mom thought it was like a process server.
Mom's like, oh, sorry, sir. I was like, sorry. And he's like, Miss Adelson? Yes. I need to talk with you. Okay. So my mom thought it was like process server. She said it was.
So Katie's totally freaked out and says someone had to know where your mom, a lot of knowledge. So basically Katie's getting very worried that they're being surveilled. This is hilarious. So Charlie Adelson says, Katie, for $19, not 20, not 18, $19. If I entered your mom's name and address in the effing computer, it costs $19 to find out where they probably rented an apartment under their names. So it's probably in the registry or whatever. Love that he knows exactly how much it costs. Funny.
It costs $19 to find out where they probably rented an apartment. piece. So it's probably in the register or whatever. So it's like, you know, when you're online, it's like $19, $29.99, find anyone you want. That's all you do. And it shows where they're registered at. And then you locate them.
He's saying it costs $19 or $29.99 to find anyone you want. So who was Charlie looking for? That's what I'm curious about. Probably someone to enact revenge on, if I had to guess. This is a family obsessed with revenge. I'm going to just take a quickie break. Shelly, Agua, thank you so much. Very generous. Appreciate it. Dean Walker, nice to see you. Thank you for the super sticker. Appreciate it. I'm just going to take a 30-second break, and I will meet you on the other side of the break. If you are enjoying this episode of my True Crime Report, please hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and share this episode. Get access to exclusive podcasts and other bonus content by becoming a patron today. If you have a question or comment for me, shoot me a super chat and I'll do my best to answer it and read it on air. Thanks so much. Now back to the show. All right. So back to, we are going through La Dolce Vita. Undercover tapes, the tapes that brought Charlie Adelson down, sir, and perhaps even put Donna in Florida's crosshairs. And you know what the kids look like, because guess what? They're online too, meaning they've been on Facebook. I think that's what he said. So Katie, they'll be back. They'll be back, guys. They'll be back. The big bump guy will be back. He won't be going away. But if Charlie meets him, he's going to draw a gun. It's going to be like a Western. It's going to be a shootout. These people know about, whoever it is knows information. So Catherine McManus says something unintelligible. Charlie Adelson says what? Catherine McManus says, you know what I mean? And there's not a lot of people that know much about. I think what she's saying is people in this lifestyle, they're not computer masterminds. And I don't think, she's saying that someone in Sigfredo Garcia's circle would not know how to do these kind of searches. I would, if I had to guess, that would be my guess on what she's saying. Let me know what you think. They didn't mention my name, which makes me. Oh, okay. Got it. I got it. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not sharing. I forgot to share my screen. My apologies. But you did get the, my apologies. My boyfriend's in the background going, you read the description. They know what's going on. My apologies, guys. We're back. These people, okay, they didn't mention my name, which makes me think, oh, this is damning for him. Makes me think that these people only know part of the story, or they think they know part of the story. Do you think what he should be saying is that they're totally wrong? My memory of this is that he says in this that that he wasn't involved. Am I right? Am I wrong on that? Let me ask you a question, Charlie says. When everybody was there the next day, did any of you take any money? If not, like you driving around in a Bentley, cruising around in a mega yacht, someone he must at some point. Meaning, did you start spending this money in a way like reminds me of the scene from Goodfellas where all the mobsters are spending the heist from the airline and Robert De Niro gets really angry. So he's saying, is anyone have they been flashing cash, drawing attention to themselves?
It's not like you're driving around in a Bentley, cruising around in a mega yacht,
So he's saying you're not flashing your cash, but is anyone? So he doesn't want to offend her. He always wants to keep Katie happy. You're not flashing your cash, but is anyone flashing their cash? Because otherwise he would have no idea that I had anything to do. Oh, Charlie's big mouth. I mean, I'm not sad that he got caught, but it's so dumb. It's so dumb, right? Katie says, I feel like, and the way that you're describing it, like how they well-dressed, number one, that's not something like she's saying this is a cop. Wow, it's amazing that they could get this, that they could hear Katie at all. They must have had someone with dog hearing to record. I mean, I know my ears are a little old and I haven't done them any favors with all this headphone use, but man, she's hard to hear. Good for the FBI on this one. Charlie Adelson says, well, you can know some things about anything. The problem is this, okay? So this is, go tell the cops. They're going to ask you. So he's back again. This is like a repeat of the jailhouse calls between him and Donna. The problem is this, okay? So this is basically no one knows anything. They don't know the whole story. They can't know it. We're safe. If no one talks, we're all going to be safe. The same thing. And even if they do have some evidence, and even if it's really strong evidence, like DNA and fingerprints, we have an alternative story. We got it down. We planned this well. Amazing, right?
Well, you can know some things, but not any. The problem is this thing. Okay, so this goes tell the cops. They're going to ask you, where's the weapon at?
Well, some things about anything. The problem is this, okay? So this is, go tell the cops. They're going to ask you, where's the weapon at? You're going to say, I don't know. How do you know who pulled the trigger? Well, now we know how they all figured it out. Forensics, etc.
I don't know. You know who pulls the trigger? Say a name. Okay. How can Did you witness it? Say no. You didn't witness.
You can say a name. Oh, okay. So Murder by Maestro is asking me to move my icon. All right. Hold on one second, guys. Yes, I can. I believe I can totally remove myself. Give me a second. Is that better, guys? So now I'll just be a floaty ghost. You can say a name, okay? How can you? Did you witness it? And the person is going to say no. The question is, how do you know? So if you didn't witness it, you only heard a rumor on the street that this person did something. Did you know what that's worth? 0. Again, I mean, we know from the jailhouse tapes that Charlie is someone who just will obsessively argue a point over and over again, tell you the same point 50 different ways. And we'll just, I wonder if he just wore these people down. I mean, it's almost like some kind of brainwashing going on. Nobody knows anything. If everybody stays quiet, no one will know anything.
Heard a rumor on the street that this person did something. You know what that's worth? 0. Then what you do is you wear a wire, get this person talking, and if you can get the person to confess on wires, then you have something in your charge.
So he's saying the only way they're going to get us is by a wire. I mean, talk about a self-fulfilling prophecy here. Is that what this is? Or is this just an ironic coincidence that he's talking about how they're going to all get them from if they tape us, they surveil us and tape us and get people talking. And if you can get this person to confess on wires, then you have something that you're charging. You have a confession. You have an admission of guilt.
You have a confession. Outside of that, there's no evidence.
Outside of that, there's no evidence. But we know from listening to Charlie and Donna's jailhouse phone calls that Tallahassee, basically Florida, the state, brought tons of evidence, surveillance, phone evidence, confessions. And both Charlie and his mother described that as no evidence. They had no evidence. The state had no evidence. So he says you have a car, you can link this person to renting that car that's used at the scene of the crime, okay? But you have to also prove that they were also driving that day too. They didn't rent it and then lent it to a friend.
Okay. If you have a car and you can link this person to renting that car that was used to the crime, okay. But you have to prove that they were also driving that day too. They didn't rent it and then lend it to a friend. What if you rented a car today? I go, Katie, can I borrow it for the weekend and I'll bring it back on Tuesday?
So now he's giving her an alternative story to tell. What if you rented a car today? I go, Katie, can I borrow it for the weekend and I'll bring it back on Tuesday? And you go, yeah, sure. So you rented a car. You've been in that car. I drive it to effing Orlando. I rob a McDonald's in Orlando. I come back and I go, here's the keys, Katie. And you go, okay, thanks. So funny. So now he's got a whole, I mean, he's got a criminal mind just like his mother, but it didn't really help him out in this. And now you can really see where his optimism came surrounding his trial. He thought, all I need is an alternative story that deals with all the evidence. So he went through all the wiretaps with Rashi and everything. He knew all the evidence by heart, and he had a story for everything. But his story was ridiculous. That they did this on spec and then they extorted him. That's what he thought. All we need is another story here, Katie.
Yeah, sure. So you rented a car. So you've been in that car. I drive it to fucking Orlando. I rob McDonald's in Orlando. I come back and I go, here's the keys, Katie. And you go, okay, thanks. Yeah, you rented it, but or what if you were fucking out all weekend and you didn't even know I took your car? I did something and I brought it back.
Yeah, you rented it, but this is Charlie's going on. He's going on this one. But what if you were effing out all weekend and you didn't even know I took your car and I did something and I brought it back? Okay, my point is I don't have any knowledge of what went on.
Okay. My point is I don't have any knowledge of what went on.
Evidently, this person's either pretending or does. I don't want someone paying visits to my parents.
This person's either pretending to or does. I don't want someone paying visits to my parents.
It could. I wish that it was a cop playing games. Well, you got your wish, Charlie. Why didn't they know it was me? If it was a cop playing games or an investigator playing games and they didn't mention me. Oh, this is terribly damning. Wow.
I wish it was a cop playing games. Why did they know it? It was a cop playing games or an investigator playing games. And they didn't mention me.
They did mention your son's girlfriend, Katie, not mention me at all and my family. And I think if they thought I had something to do with it, they would find me and they'd talk to me. You know what I'm saying? So he's got the whole he's worried. They didn't mention me. I'm safe. That's what he's telling himself, but he's certainly ready for a shootout.
My family. And I think if they thought I had something to do with it, they would find me and they'd talk to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, go talk to the person who's involved, not talk to the people who are involved.
They go talk to the person who's involved, not effing people who aren't involved, and I'm not involved. But if they knew, see, yep, I was right. Yeah, he does mention he's not involved. He also probably thought that would save him, just the way Donna thinks her conversation with a bump guy is going to save her, the undercover bump guy, where she says, I don't know anything. I don't know anything. Go to the police. You can get a lot more money if you go to the police. But if they knew your relationship is with me, not my family, like I dated you, not my mom, they knew my dad's name.
And I'm not involved, but if they knew our
The person obviously doesn't even know that we dated. That's the direct connection, is who is her boyfriend, the 70-year-old guy, Dr. Adelson, or the 37-year-old Dr. Adelson? Yeah, 37. Let's go talk to him, Dr. Adelson. That's who they talk to, not waste your time with mom. Oh, I agree. Charlie, I agree totally. They should not waste the time. They're wasting the time. Here I am. I'm in jail. Terribly uncomfortable in my bunk. My back hurts. I'm working on my case. They have the wrong person. Why are they wasting the time with me? I don't get it. It's stupid. That's what it is. It's stupid, Charlie. Absolutely. You're right, Charlie. You couldn't be more right.
Not waste your time with mom.
They need to talk to someone who knew what the F went on. And so, wouldn't it make sense that your connection to my family is me? He's basically saying they need to talk to me. And because they didn't talk to me, they don't know anything. And they have it all wrong. Your connection to my family is not my mom. So, in one other sentence, he just said he wasn't involved, but they should talk to him. Great thinking, Charlie. Yeah, yeah, you work for the office now because the checks are from there. Oh, law, he's letting it all out here.
Wouldn't it make sense that your connection to my family, your connection to my family is not my mom? Like, yeah, you work for the office now, so checks from and that's just because you come in and work on the weekends, which I trust that you're doing.
And that's just because you come in and work on the weekend. So now he's afraid that he's going to get in trouble because she's not really working there on the weekend, which I trust that you're doing because I'm never there when I see you. You tell me that you do it and the place looks clean. So you get your checks, you clean up, whatever. So he's telling her what to say the checks are for. You're cleaning, right? With a big wink. Okay, how's that cleaning going, Katie? I trust that you're doing it. Wink, wink. Because I'm not there on the weekends to see you do it. Get what you're going to say? Get the story? Feeding her the story. It's very much like the Adelsons. They have a cover. They're very concerned with the cover story. And I was very interested in that Dr. Adelson, Mr. Adelson thing. Because, you know, I question the story about the jet skis and Sigfredo Garcia. I believe my theory on it is it's a story they made up because right after Sigfredo Garcia called Harvey at home. So they needed a story. And you can see that Charlie is aware that they're both Dr. Adelson and that someone could be confused right there. But that's neither here nor there. The person knows information, and even if they are cops, that information said your name, and they also know that they're claiming that somebody who had something to do with it is incarcerated. I don't know anyone in jail.
And we also know that they're claiming that somebody had something to do with it incarcerated. I don't know anything.
My point is, I don't want this coming back. I don't have a problem helping the community out, but I don't want this community to come back. I don't want this community. So now it's a community of people to come back next month. And what I think happens is if I pay the money, they're going to be back again and again and again. They've got to make more money. It's not a cop. Well, there you're wrong, Charlie. But so out of cheapness, they don't want to pay him because they think it's going to be more than just 5.
They gotta make more money. The guy wants like an cop. Whoever you arrested is the cop. The cop, I'm happy because I got another cop. He's not a cop.
So Charlie Adelson, maestro at the helm, will take this route. We've already addressed if it's a cop. If it's a cop, I'm happy because I've got nothing to hide. Okay? If it's not a cop, Katie. So he's even worried. So he's throwing these things out. And he, in the back of his mind, is the fact that he might being surveilled or taped even in this restaurant. So he says, if it's a cop, I think, so he's going to tell her the way it's all going to go down. It would be so easy to do. You've got to understand something. And they'd sit down and they tell the police what happened. First, they're going to ask my parents to take a lie detector, which they won't do just for the simple reason that those give false positives all the time. Right. Just be, and for the same reason that your parents wouldn't testify in court and would take the fifth without immunity is because of wrongful convictions. Right, Charlie? Same reason that they wouldn't take a lie detector test, because they're so unreliable. Funny.
Which they won't do just for the simple reason that this makes you fall positive all the time. Which unfortunately makes you look bad because it's like, okay, we're just
Man, he knows all the angles. So unfortunately, it makes you look bad. And that's the Adelson's whole MO. I know we look guilty, but you can't prove it because it's like, okay, we're just, we just feel that way. Not that nothing to hide, but 99% of the people, if they have nothing to hide, take a lie detector test.
feel that way. The lie detector tests are not accurate. But 99% of people, if they have nothing to hide, take a lie detector test. It makes you look bad if they're like, hey, you want to take a lie detector test if you shot JFK? You're like, yeah, I'll fucking take your test and I'm going home afterwards. All right, take it quick. Okay, because you didn't shoot JFK. So, right.
So he's saying if you didn't shoot JFK, you'd be happy to take a lie detector test. Just another scenario from Charlie. Always with the scenarios. The scenarios.
Right. But let me explain something to you. If we go to the spotlight, the FBI,
So he says if we go to the police, this is going to put us in a spotlight on the investigation, the FBI. The FBI, they're talking about a bigwig in the FBI, not like a first-year rookie. And he's right. The FBI did get involved in this case. Very, very, what a good criminal mind he has. You're going to have a 20-year vet with the FBI knocking at your door, wanting to speak with you and wanting to speak with your attorney. This made not only national news, this was in London. My family in London was calling. You know what the BBC news? The British Broadcasting News?
BBC News is broadcasting. This was on the BBC News.
Okay, she's saying, I don't know the BBC. He goes, that doesn't matter. This made the BCT News. This was on Good Morning America. This was in the New York Times. This was a big story. So he's saying this made the press. We're under suspicion. So he say, well, listen, you didn't do anything. I didn't do anything. And Charlie Adelson says, well, prove it. The next question is prove it. I don't have time. I've got a problem with this. Pretty damning stuff. So he's saying, don't confess. If you want to arrest me, effing arrest me. If not, going to sit here and show you the photos of all the anatomy, my genital pictures, my word, not his, I took of myself. Isn't he a charmer, this guy? Isn't he a charmer? Isn't he a charmer? Every woman's dream. It was like a fairy tale. That's what June said, right? I'm going to take a just a quick break from this. Oh, I have some super stickers to get to. Lakeside Lawyer, thank you so much. Blanca Tatanko? Tatanko? What a great name. Is now a member. Slice of banana bread. Slice of banana bread for you, Blanca. Blanca. Sharon Shipley, thank you so much for the super sticker. I appreciate it. Jessica Day, thank you. Would love your thoughts on Ruby Frankie case. Yeah, I was listening to something this morning. That's interesting you ask. I think it's awful. They both are pleading out or have pled out, is my understanding. But I was listening to what her female friend, I don't know what their relationship is with that woman. I don't know if they're more than friends. They were in a relationship. It seems like maybe they were. I don't know. But the woman the psychologist, I'm forgetting her name, excuse me. But I was listening to her lecture, and it sounded so much like the Nexium cult, so much like what Keith Raniere used to talk about, meaning that what she was talking about is we assign values to things being good or bad. So that basically what the cult is doing is totally getting rid of your inner moral compass and getting you to question all the values. Very odd. Yeah, I hope those kids will be okay. Terrible thing. And CPS, I don't know why it took so long for something to be done in that situation. It's sad. So I just wanted to show you guys. This is from the society page. Let's see if we're talking about the paranoia and everything's being taped. So the society page did a video where the trailer of Francis Ford Coppola's movie, The Conversation, only it's the Adelsons. Let's take a quick viewing.
No one under 16 will be admitted unless accompanied by a parent or guardian. Only you can judge if your children are mature and intelligent enough to witness the frank and revealing scenes in this film.
This is a world of hidden mics and two-way mirrors. A world where nothing is private.
I got some paperwork hand-delivered to me.
Harry Cole is an expert. The best there is.
Does Dad know about this?
Your dad's at work today.
Let me tell you something about Harry Cole. The best, bar none. I'll drink to that.
Best what?
The best bugger on the West Coast.
Excuse me, this is Adelson? How you doing? Just want to give you this. Listen. You're scared. No, don't be scared.
He can bug anybody, anytime, anywhere.
Is Wendy know that? Is it involved Wendy?
No.
Nobody knows how you did it, though, Harry. Caused a hell of a scandal, too.
Confirmed within the last 2 hours, Charlie Adelson's trial for murdering this man, FSU law professor Dan Markel, will now start on October 23rd.
Does it involve me or other people?
Well, probably the two of us.
They're not people to him, just voices. He doesn't know them, and they don't know him.
You probably have a general idea what I'm talking about.
Had nothing to do with me. I mean, I just turned in the tapes.
Who is the paperwork sent from?
It's something that came hand to hand to me as I exited the building today.
If someone's messing with you, they're messing with me. If someone's messing with me, they're messing with you. Call them, find out who the fuck it is now. Trust me on this. It's utter nonsense. Yeah.
Let me tell you something. I was at Broward with Dato, and he told me the whole story.
Be careful, Harry.
Think it through. Find out who the fuck it is. That's all I'm asking you.
Sorry. My mom's going to this table something. Right. You actually did. I need to talk with you. I mean, I hope they find Renee. Yeah.
I don't know who you have to talk to, but it needs to be nipped in the bud.
You're an idiot. You gave a fucking wrong number. Get the fucking number, the fucking call, because I'm gonna call them.
That's okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna fucking go to the cops right now.
Okay, well, either you go to the cops or we go to the cops or find out.
What a stupid conversation.
Stan, please, I'm trying to work.
Call them, find out who the fuck it is. Now, trust me on this. I said, let me call you back later.
What the hell are they talking about, for Christ's sake?
Stanley, please, I'm trying to get this done.
All right, don't get excited, man.
Well, I'm getting fed up.
What's the matter, Harry?
If there's one surefire rule that I have learned in this business is that I don't know anything about human nature. I don't know anything about curiosity. That's not part of what I do.
There is nothing private about the conversation. Listen.
Whatever it is, I'll take a look at the paperwork.
That would be great.
Perfect. All right, I'll talk to you later.
Love you, honey. Bye.
Love you. Bye.
Okay, that is the society pages. Great work. Little trailer for Francis Ford Coppola's movie, The Conversation. So let us get back to Charlie Adelson. We're going through the Dolce Vita wiretaps. Tonight.
Why I can't have my phone? Because I got tons of new photos.
Like, I mean, why can't you have my phone? Wow, this sounds like Donna. My lawyer told me not to. My lawyer told me not to hand over my phone. Why can't you have my phone? Because I've got tons of... He's going to say it's too embarrassing. Nude photos of myself on my phone. You've got to not looking at my D pictures of myself all day too. So why don't you come back with a warrant so you can look at my D pictures? You one of me. I'm serious. I don't want them laughing at my pee-pee. Oh, wow. Donna Adelson didn't do this stuff. I'm sorry. You don't want my breast pictures exposed. I have serious pictures I sent to my husband on here. I'm told not to give up this phone by any means necessary. No. Do you have a warrant especially for these pictures? So ridiculous. Poor Katie had to sit here listening to this nonsense. She's just as terrible as he is, but oh my God. Not quite. I don't know, but heartless. What a heartless, greedy woman. Awful. Oh.
Why don't you come back with a warrant? You can look on the thing you want. I'm serious. I don't want that laughing at my TV. The point is, okay, I don't like cops, and you're not getting my...
He wants, I don't want them laughing at my PP t-shirt. I do. The point is, okay, I don't like cops, and you're not getting my D pics of myself, so have a nice day. So that's the answer, okay? See, he always thinks that if he has an alternate reason or an alternate excuse, that he's going to be okay. I guess this has always worked for him. Such a street tactic. You know, I don't know. You can't have my DNA because I don't know if you're going to clone me. It's like a street tactic.
My answer, okay? Do you think I did something? Arrest me, charge me, and that's it. Okay. That's it. Now, I don't want you.
So if you think that I did something, arrest me, charge me, I don't want these people coming back. That's the thing, right? I don't want them taking more of my money. If they are cops, I'm happy because I have nothing to hide. See, he thought this would all cover him if they were taping him. If they're a bad guy, there's two ways of dealing with it. One is to go ahead and contact Miami Beach Department. So he knew that that was one option, but of course they're not going to go that way, right?
Coming back, if they are found unhappy because they got nothing to hide, if they're a bad guy, there's two ways of dealing with it. One is go ahead and contact the Miami Beach Police Department. Okay.
And poor Katie's like, yeah, when is this going to be over? I have a headache already. Charlie Adelson saying, okay, they'll contact this guy. They'll talk to him on the phone. They'll arrange for things to be set up. Katie says, yeah.
They'll contact this guy, they'll talk to him on the phone, and they'll arrange for things to be set up. When it's set up, it's going to be like a fucking SWAT team in place.
And when it's set up, there'll be like an effing SWAT team in place, an effing FBI, and they're going to effing take this guy down. And then he will offer 10 years because we just have you on tape extorting somebody. Unreal.
FBI. They're going to fucking take this guy down and people will offer him 10 years because we just have you on tape extorting somebody. And now everything you know, you just 10 years in prison.
So, right. So basically saying if someone's going to talk, they're going to bring us down. And now tell us everything you know, or else you're going to serve 10 years of prison. Is it worth it? Katie McManus says, yeah. So even if they suggest you're going to spend a long time in prison, and now Katie's doing a life sentence for taking this dumb advice, you don't say anything. Stay silent. The whole thing is about stay silent, nobody talk, and we'll all be okay. Charlie Adelson says, okay, next thing you know, this person is singing. Other people start singing. And as soon as they have him, he starts calling your name out. Oh, my parents are going to have to say, yeah, the guy came and he said that. They're going to ask the story of what happened. I love how he goes up at the end of the intonation goes up. They're going to ask the story of what happened. They're going to be police at your door, at my door. It's going to be Katie McManus says my name. They're going to want to, and then they're going to check out anybody who got bailed out of jail, and then they're going to be, it's not going to be cops, it's going to be effing big boys flying in to see what they come up with, okay? And that's probably going to make the newspaper.
Big boys flying in to see what they can come up with. Okay. And then that's probably going to make the decision. I want to get the money. I don't want to be next Tuesday.
What he's saying is, I want to give them money, but what I don't want is to get involved. Is next Tuesday he's asking for $10,000. So this was my idea. I give you money, you contact. So he's saying, I just want to give you money to make it go away, but you do it.
This was my idea. I give you money. You contact me.
This is why I'm saying it. You can't hear Katie at all here. This is why I say it. I give you money. You talk to him on the phone. Katie says,
I give you money. You talk to him on the phone. You go with Kitty. And you say, and I just goes, I get a fucking stick. So you let him.
Charlie's head is spinning. And I'm just, because my head is effing spinning, so you know that I know what whoever this guy is, I don't know who he is. And these people are going to call you, say my friend, say. So he's saying, you call and say my friend. Someone got in touch with my friend's mom. Or I don't know what he's going to say. It something like along those lines.
I know whoever this guy is, I don't know who he is. And these people are going to say my friend would say I got to, you can call the guy up and say, I got a call from so-and-so. I got a call from somebody who said, I reached out. That's all I wanted to say.
So now we got the instructions from the maestro. So he's telling Katie, go call the guy up and say, I got a call from so-and-so. I got a call from somebody who said you reached out to them. That's all I want you to say. I got a call from so-and-so that you reached out to them. These people.
I got a call from so-and-so that you reached out to them. These people
Katie, you can't understand what Katie's saying, but in response, Charlie says, these people are right. This is what I want you to do. I want you to call up this person and say that I got a call from some friends of mine who say that you reached out to them and that you mentioned my name. This is really interesting because Charlie Adelson is staring at the person, whoever's taping them, for a long time. You know who did this too? Was Dahlia DiPolito, Poison Candy. Took me a second to think of her name. Her eyes kept darting to where the camera was. Here's Charlie just staring at the camera down.
I got a call from some friends of mine who say that you reached out to them and that you mentioned my name.
And remember, protect your name recently. So what you're going to say is, I got a call from some friends of mine who said that you had reached out and that you had mentioned my name. These people want to go to the police because they had nothing to do with what you're talking about, okay? So he wants to threaten the police with the idea of calling the police. Great idea, Charlie.
These people want to go to the police because they had nothing to do with what you're talking about. Yeah. And frankly, I don't know.
And frankly, I don't know what you're talking about, but the name sounds familiar of who's incarcerated, so I'm going to give you something as charity. Great idea, Charlie, to help the less fortunate. But do not contact these people again or they're going to the police. So he's thought of a foolproof way of making it go away. Great idea, Charlie.
What you're talking about. But the name sounds familiar of who's incarcerated. So I'm going to give you something as charity to help the less fortunate. But do not contact these people again where they're going to the police.
and let them know that you had to do everything in the world to prevent these people from going to the police because they don't know anything and I don't know anything, and that the name sounds a little familiar, and that I'm going to help you out with some charity. Brilliant, Charlie.
Let them know you had to do everything in the world to prevent these people from going to the police because they don't know anything and I don't know anything. And that the name sounds a little familiar, and that I'm going to help you out with some charity. And don't ever contact me.
Same thing. Don't ever contact me, my friends, or my family again, or we will go to the police. The way he gets his money, he also knows that way he gets his money. Sorry. He also knows that you will know everything, that you may have a friend who may not be so cool. Also, a little threat in there. Great idea, Charlie.
My friends or my family again, we will go to the police. That way he gets money. He also knows that you know everything, that you may have a friend who may not be so cool. What's going on too?
What's going on too? You have a friend who knows everything, who may know people, who knows how to handle people like this, and this is effing one-time thing, man. This is charity. Oh, they have hearts of gold, don't they? This is charity to help somebody out, less fortunate. You believe in karma, and that's the only reason it's being done.
May know people, knows how to handle people like this, and that this is a fucking one-time thing, and this is charity to help somebody out less fortunate. You believe in karma, and that's the only reason it's being done. If it happens again, they're going to break it.
If it happens again, so you just threaten them slightly. What is Katie? I think she's 5'2". If it happens again, so she's going to threaten this 6-foot guy. Hold on, I have to cough. If it happens again, they're going to bring it to the police, and then the whole time that you're talking, you just say, I don't know at all what's going on. I was just called at 5:30, shaken over this, and they're scared, and I told them that we're going to try to help these people. Oh, so magnanimous. The Adelsons. Oh, they're such a giving family, so warm-hearted. Just sprinkling around $5,000 here and there where they may.
The whole time you're talking, you just say, I don't know. And all that's going on, I was just called by a very shaken old lady. He was scared. And I told them that, we're going to try to help these people. But that's it. You don't use anything other than the words.
But that's it. You don't use anything other than the words help and charity, and then you're going to ask that you leave these people alone, or they're going to the police. That's all I was able to come up with. So he's racked his brain, thinking of some way to make this go away. Just pay it, make it go away. But even if Katie really did all this, that would still be unsatisfactory to Charlie. He'd still be getting more and more paranoid. There's no way to do a murder like this and not live constantly with this kind of anxiety that you're going to be arrested any moment.
And charity. And that you're going to ask that you leave these people alone where they are going to the police. That's all I was able to do. If it's the police, I can't take the money.
If it's the police, they can't take the money. They can't take the money. They can't even come meet you. They effed up. If it's this guy, maybe in the back of he knows F off times a million. And now he's effing with his wife, and he's effing with him, and you F with, wow, the language on this guy. Wow.
Can't take the money, don't even come meet you. It's fucked up. If it's a guy, maybe in the back of his system, he knows that he's fuck on times he knows. And then now he's fucking with his wife, and he's fucking with him, and you fucking himself, you better kill him because it's a big problem.
And you F with the king himself, you'd better kill him because he's going to be a big problem and he knows who you are. If he can't do it, he'll have someone else do it. And so help me God, if they F with my family, it's going to be like effing that Nazi stuff. My word's not his, because this will be done. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Katie, I don't care what I spend, okay? I swear to God, Katie. Katie, the person doesn't know. So what Charlie's finding out here is that money doesn't solve all of his problems. Basically, he's saying he'd pay any money to not live with this anxiety anymore. Can't take it. And you kind of hear he's just desperate to have this go away, this whole thing go away. It wasn't the perfect crime that they all thought it would be.
See what I'm saying? I mean, I don't care what I spend. They just swear to God.
So you can't hear Catherine McManawa. Charlie Adelson says this person knows, big deal. Little may not know anything. Katie can't hear her.
This person knows they feel like they do a little bit. If they
read the words, we can't hear what they're saying.
Okay, the person knows, big deal. Little may not know anything, and you can't hear what Katie's saying. So I think they, and then Charlie Adelson becomes intelligible. Katie McBanoa can't understand her. Charlie Adelson says, what? No. So they're talking a little bit more softly here. Right. So he knows that I have you on the salary. You'd think he'd be happy to know that. Katie McBanoa, of course. I would think that's Sigfredo Garcia. Is that who he's talking about here? Let me know. Wait, hold on. Let me just check in with the chat and see. Is he talking about Sigfredo Garcia? So he knows that or is he talking about his dad? So he knows that I have you on salary. You'd think he'd be happy to know that. Katie says, of course. When she said, this is so sweet, Ronald Mail says, when she says, this is so sweet, She was talking about banana bread. Yes, he's talking about Sofredo. Thank you, Clarissa H. I appreciate it. Okay, now back to the regularly scheduled program and if you're just tuning in, we are listening to the undercover wiretap recording of Charlie Adelson and Catherine McManua in the murder of Dan Markel, that case.
Right, so he knows that from down. You think he'd be happy to know that?
Charlie Adelson says he doesn't have any bad feelings towards me, does he? Our paths never crossed. Well, that's odd. Didn't they? See, there's another thing that supports my feelings that whole story about the jet skis was made up. I don't know that the two of you would be working out kind of like, and Katie says, no, it's not like that.
Our paths never crossed that. I didn't know the two of you when you were together. Not like I'm hating, where it's like, yeah, I thought he was around when you guys were together.
It's not where it's like I was effing around when you guys were together and then I hopped in when you walked out. Like, that's a different story. That's disrespectful. Katie McManua is unintelligible. And Charlie Adelson says, with my mom, there's no...
That's a different story. That's disrespectful. No. What?
Katie is totally intelligible, but Charlie Adelson is saying what? He's like, what? Is there someone not me talking? Don't you want me to go back to my monologue? How dare you interrupt another one of my brilliant monologues? Charlie Adelson says, how? I mean, remember, like we were separated and you either continuation travel, as your parents know, especially we had annoying or whatever, but it's not like that. Yeah, I know I'm never, and I was. So a lot of things that didn't get picked up by the recorder. Oh, he's giving a little advertisement for himself. He says, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know how I am. Like, I look for things to do. You don't ask me for S. I'm the one that's like, hey, Noah's birthday's coming up. That's her son. I gotcha. I'm the one who's like, anything I can, you don't even have to ask, meaning if the police come to you, don't give me up. Remember how well I've treated you? How well I've taken care of you, and that can continue. Just keep your mouth shut.
I'm the one who's like, hey, Noah's birthday's coming up. I got you. I'm the one who's like, anything I can, you don't ask. I'm the one who's like, hey, I'll tell you the life is for a very good price. I figured out the car problem. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm the one.
Continuing on this theme on how great I am and how you don't want to give me up if the police ever talk to you, he says to Katie, I'm the one who's like, hey, I'll sell you the Lexus for a very good price. I know you're having car problems. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm the one, I don't have to. I don't have to tell you, I show you. Oh, what a dreamboat. There's a difference.
I don't have to tell you. I show you. So what do you think?
So Katie McManawa says something that didn't get picked up. Charlie Adelson says, so what do you think about the plan? Are you going to call this guy? I'm your guy. Look at all the great stuff I've done for you. You going to do it? And if the police talk to you, you're going to keep your mouth shut? Charlie Adelson says he needs to know that it's going to go down one of two ways. Like, you're either effing with me or you're effing with the police. Pick which one. Katie McManawa. Again, voice didn't get picked up. Charlie Adelson says he said 2-0 and he helped your family out. And I know you've been helping Katie out. Your family has been helping Katie out, and his family needs some help now. I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And he said, maybe this will help explain it to you. They did not go through the trouble of finding her and putting that thing together and giving that thing to her without, and then they just go away. It ain't going away. Oh, he's getting folksy now. He's dropping his G's. He's talking folksy, guys. So we have another rough patch. Katie McManawa isn't picked up on the recording. Charlie Adelson says, what's that? Katie again, not picked up. Charlie Adelson, listen, if it's the cops. Katie again, can't be heard.
Well, if it's the cop.
Well, the problem is if you give in to, like, if my mom meets him, it's like, oh, yeah, okay, I'll meet you tomorrow in front of the building. And he just drives up. And she hands him 5 G's. And what the F do you think is going to happen next month? So they're worried about spending too much money, getting away with the murder. The murder. Oh, and it's going to be like, he needs your help again. You know what I mean? And the thing is, if my parents were really guilty, they may think they have a big fish on the line that's going to pay them monthly. And all they have to do is scare this little old lady. Little old lady. They called me old. Old lady, yes. Old, no. Very insulted. These people are very rude. That's what Donna would say.
You know, I mean, and the thing is, my parents really were guilty. They made them think they have a big fish on the line. And I love this. All I have to do is scare this little old lady. Who's she going to know? The cop, she's guilty as hell. You have to let them know this.
And who is she gonna go to? She's gonna go to the cops. She's guilty as hell. Well, I think we're gonna be hearing this at Donna's trial. You have to let them know that these people are not afraid of going to the cops. They've got nothing to hide, okay? But she's not going to the cops. She's afraid of going to the cops. She's got nothing to hide, but she's not going to go to the cops because she's guilty as heck. What are they saying? I mean, come on.
People are not afraid of going to the cops. They got nothing to hide. Okay? So, you're the one they reached out to.
So you're the one they reached out to, and they said, you need to say that they reached out to me because you mentioned my name.
They reached out to me because you mentioned my name.
And why would you ever want to reach out somebody that obviously you know that this is Katie talking, that would have been more like personal with this whole thing, your mom. And Charlie says, I'm more afraid of the long term, like knock on the door again. So he's less afraid of being arrested because he thinks they did this so well that they'll never be able to prove anything concerning him. He's more concerned about paying off about the money he's going to lose. It's so Adelson. It's so the Adelson line of thinking. There's so money. Money is everything. Money, material goods, status, power, control. None of the things that are really, really important in life. They're living at like a lizard level of life.
I'm more afraid of the long term, just like knocking the door again and again and again and again. This is
So Charlie Adelson says they're going to be coming back again and knocking on the door again and again and again. So Katie again can't be picked up. Charlie Adelson says, why not? Why? Because I don't think they want to mess with his connections. Katie says, yeah, it's like, is he like so far removed that like he's. Katie says, yes, of course. Charlie Adelson says he doesn't have to. He doesn't have anybody that he can call up. That's like, Katie says, yeah. Like, yeah. Charlie Adelson says, you listen, you giving somebody some money is not an admission of any guilt. Like, it's like, listen, if you gave me money now, this is the one and only time. I don't know what this is about. So we're just going to hand money because someone asked and we don't have anything to do with it because it's charity. That's his brilliant idea. Great idea, Maestro.
you listen. You giving somebody some money is not an admission of any kind of guilt. Like it's like, listen, if you gave me money. one and only time. I don't know what this is about. Just telling you. You know, you can say things without saying it. Like,
He says, I'm just telling you, you know how you can say things without saying it? Like, just, that's the whole Adelson style of communication. Especially Donna's great at that, saying things without saying it, talking around issues. And I believe that's the way they talk about Dan Markel's murder, even in private. Like, just the way he said it. Like, he said he needs your help. He was there for you, and his family needs your help now.
just the way he said it, like, he said, he needs your help. He was there for you. And his family needs your help now.
Yeah, but he just doesn't want to. He didn't want to scare her. He didn't scare her, but just his presence. You have to understand his presence. My mom had diarrhea all night. She hasn't been eating, and she's been up since 2 a.m. with diarrhea. Oh, it sounds great. Doesn't this make you want to commit a murder? A murder, everybody? Doesn't this sound great? Living with constant paranoia, stomach upset, wanting to carry a gun, thinking about shootouts. And by the time he was arrested, his whole house was filled with guns. What a way to live.
Yeah, like he didn't want to scare her. He didn't scare her. But you could just his presence, you understand. His presence, my mom had diarrhea all night. She hasn't been eating, and she's been up since 2 o'clock in the morning with diarrhea. Like, how do you think that feels, my mom?
Charlie Adelson says, like, how do you think that feels with my mom, 65 years old and up since 2 a.m. with FN diarrhea? Who? Katie says, who? Charles Adelson says, I don't know. So this is where Katie leaves the table briefly. Let's see. We've been going for quite some time. We just have a little bit more left. Let's see how you're feeling. You guys still up for more of this? Hey, the Society page. Nice to see you. Society page has a contest going on. If you'd like to collaborate with him. Okay. All right. Let's try to finish this up. So when Katie comes back, Charlie says, my head was, when I was leaving the house, I literally had the bag out. So like I said, this is a family with weak stomachs. I had the bag out. I had it in my car with my car keys. Katie McBanoa is again not picked up. Charlie Adelson says, I know, well, if you want, you guys can swing by my house later. So what are we doing?
That's why when I was in the house, I literally had the bag out. And I had it in my car. You know, you got like I know. Well, if you want, you guys can swing by my house later. So what do we do?
So Katie, again, her voice isn't picked up on the tape, but Charlie says, I want you to take it back. Write the number down, and I'm going to give you cash, and I want you to talk to 712 what? 6570. They can't be that many people if it's a real number. I mean, the guy didn't have glasses or a hat. Can I tell you something else also? Yeah, what's shocking too is that, so they could see who it is. Let me just put it this way. He's thinking he's blackmailing somebody. He's amazed that he showed his face. You're putting yourself out there to catch a mole, because when you're blackmailing somebody, somebody's got a couple options to either take care of you or, okay, you're blackmailing somebody who had no problem possibly doing bad things. What kind of family would have no problem possibly doing bad things? Could it be the Adelson family, minus Robert, of course?
Had no problem possibly doing that. Blackmail somebody who were banging their secretary.
So Charlie's going to explain blackmail to us. Blackmail somebody who was banging their secretary. Oh, what a dreamboat this guy is. Okay, not blackmail somebody who over effing and Katie says something that didn't get picked up again.
Not blackmail somebody over fucking
My office in the morning, and then I'm in Weston in the afternoon. I know I'm going to do a special case for somebody. But it's like if you're going to blackmail someone that's cheating on their wife.
my office in the morning, and then I'm in Weston in the afternoon. I know I'm going into a special meeting. But it's like if you're gonna blackmail someone that's cheating on their wife, don't come. The thing is, these are the big boys.
Don't come, because the thing is these are the big boys. Like, if this is what this is what I'm saying here. This is what is actually revolving around, okay? It's actually revolving around this horrible. Charlie Adelson says, so this is what I'm saying. If you're blackmailing somebody who's potentially had the ability to get something like this done, you've got an effing set of balls, because they may make you shut up real quick, which makes me think, without a doubt, he's not the only. He didn't come there alone. He came there with somebody else. You know what I'm saying? And this is the next thing. This is Charlie speaking. You ready? What about, so get ready for Charlie's next thought. You ready for my next thought? What if his homeboys want some money, and all he does is walk up and goes, Ms. Adelson, and so-and-so's family needs help. So what they're worried about is paying more money. Again.
This is the next thing, Ernie. What about one of his homeboys wants the money? All he does is walks up and he goes, Adelson, so-and-so's family needs help.
Meanwhile, this dude's family ain't getting S. We just get a bunch of scumbags knocking on my door going, somebody needs help. Well, guess what? I don't have anything to do with what happened down there. You don't? I don't know anybody who does. I don't know who Pourteau even is. Who Pourteau even effing is, okay? So keep your mouth shut, is what he's saying. He's coaching her what to say.
We just get a bunch of scumbags knocking on my door, going, somebody needs help. Well, guess what? I don't have anything to do with what happened down there. You don't. I don't know anyone who does. I don't know who these people are. Like, I don't know these people. So my point is the problem.
Like, I don't know these people. So my point is my family's totally innocent. We just like to give out money randomly. So my point is the problem is once you pay, you're going to get every effing Tom, Dick, and Harry showing up. Hey, somebody needs help. Go to the effing police. I don't care.
You're going to get every fucking Tom, Dick, and Harry showing up going, hey, somebody needs help. Go to the fucking police. I don't care.
Go to the police. Tell them what you know. I'll tell them what I know. Very much like Donna's call. Nothing, because I don't. FBI, 5 a.m. Hey, you know who this is coming from? Inside. I don't know anybody that's got that facial hair. Just the 5-day shadow.
Please, tell them what you know. I'll tell them what I know. Nothing. I don't. My question. Right? How do you feel happy with the FBI? Probably we're 5 in the morning. And you know who this is coming from? Inside. I don't know anybody that's got that facial hair. Just the 5-day shadow.
Okay, so that is it. We made it to the end. Ooh, that was a bear. I'm going to end this the way I usually do. With a victim impact statement. Actually, let me make this a little smaller. This was written September 24th, 2019. Dear Judge Hankinson, I make this submission in my personal capacity only. I met Dan when we were both studying in the UK. Dan came to Oxford to visit, and we met in London to do touristy things on a touristy budget. In those days before the internet, before text messaging, and the demand of the instant, we would write each other letters longhand. These letters revealed in Dan someone who could not be put down, ambitious, rigorous, tedious, but most of all, optimistic. More than anyone, he loved life. Years later, when I moved back to Toronto, we would reunite here, mostly on the Jewish high holidays, where we both were enthralled by a particular rabbi. After the service, in which he would seemingly simultaneously pray devoutly and chat unrelentingly, he would invite himself over to our home. That time meant the world. Dan was keen to ensure that I was making the right career choices, defending the right defendants, seeking pro bono opportunities, etc. But he also showed himself to be vulnerable, asking my thoughts on his trajectory in life and love. On May 25th, 2005, Dan wrote with, quote, exciting news, albeit somewhat belatedly. Last Thursday night, in a beautiful village overlooking the Kinneret Lake in Israel, Wendy Adelson agreed to marry me, making me the luckiest guy I know, unquote. After Dan married and had children, we would continue to speak and see each other. It was clear Dan was singularly devoted to his children. He was keen to instill in them what he called Yiddishkeit, which I inferred to mean a combination of both Jewish culture, Woody Allen, bagels, etc., and Jewish religion, Torah, and tradition. He was happy for me when I told him that my children were attending the same Jewish school as his sister's children. A few months before he was murdered, Dan called me to see if we could get together with our children. He wanted our children to be friends, and so did I. Dan's murder was a jolting shock that continues to painfully reverberate for me. I am heartbroken that Dan's children lost their father. When I see Dan's sister at school, I am ashamed to admit that I cannot look her in the eye when I speak to her. I'm not thinking about her, but about her lost brother, whose senseless death has and will impact the generations. Faithfully submitted, Eric S. Block. That's what I have for today. Thanks for listening, guys. Please hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, share this episode. If you're on Apple Podcasts, please leave me a 5-star review. Become a member of this channel. And I'll see you tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern. Have a great night, everybody.